If anything goes wrong, unfortunately, all the farmers around this area, they won't be any good to the economy of Carrigaline in the future. We're all in this together, and I think it's an important message that the Minister takes, that we are all in this. Towns like Carrigaline and all the other towns of Ireland need a productive Irish agricultural sector. And without his, I think, rowing back on some of what he has conceded in the last couple of weeks, we are not going to survive. And it's quite simple. I think the Minister, look, you are the President of the Farm Council in Europe at the moment. I would remind the Minister, look, it's a 6-month job. His real job is to represent Irish farmers. There are plenty more speakers who are much better at this job than I am. Again, I really appreciate your effort in getting here today. I know you've come from far and wide. My only regret really is that things have got to this stage that you had to come here. But it's time for us to stand up and fight, and I'm glad so many of you turned up today to do that. Thank you again, ladies and gentlemen.
Well done, Jimmy. Just one second, gentlemen. I'm delighted to see such a huge crowd here today. And the reason so many of you have turned out is because you are concerned with your futures, with your livelihoods. At the stage of the negotiations, we're at a very delicate stage. Within the next 2 weeks, your future will be decided, because the Common Agricultural Policy, the single farm payment, represents, in most of your cases, 100% of your income. And as the proposal stands from the Commissioner, each and every one of you, ourselves, and all the people that are in the productive sector, stand to lose huge amounts of money. Last week, the Minister, in our view, caved in when it appears that this €196 a hectare across the board as a minimum payment will mean that there will be between 60,000 and 80,000 farmers at the productive end, like you and me, stand to lose anything from 20 to 40%. While at the same time transferring over huge amounts of money to the sector that's producing little or nothing. That is not sustainable going forward. You can't, there are over 20,000 farmers that have landowners that have neither stock nor production that will be in line for this €196 a hectare. That is not sustainable going forward. Over the past number of years, under the previous regimes and the system that is there now, it is you that have delivered the goods for the single farm payment. Whether it is beef, sheep, milk, dairy, grain, whatever, all that has been done with the help of the single farm payment. And the Minister has spent the last couple of years talking about production, increasing output, jobs, exports, and whatever. Now is the time, Minister, to defend our industry. Last year, at a meeting in London, you stood on a lorry like this, and you spoke to the London discussion group launching the beef discussion group, and you, one question about the state of the negotiation of the single farm payment, you said that I will ensure that no farmer loses more than 15%. Minister, we are calling on you to defend our livelihoods, to make sure that you defend, as President of the Council of Ministers, that no productive farmer loses more than 15%. Defend the sector that you are elected to do, Minister, and ensure that the jobs will be kept in the rural areas. That's why everyone is gathered here today, because they are concerned about their future. Thank you all for coming, and Minister, deliver on your promise.
Future as farmers. Irish farming needs young farmers, and in terms of the age profile of our industry, we are in a crisis. There are only 6% of Irish farmers under 35, and as many farmers over 80 as there are under 35. Ladies and gentlemen, the replacement rate is just too low. As young farmers, the importance of CAP to us is the difference of being a farmer or not. There is for the first time a measure included to support young farmers, and this mandatory measure has been endorsed by the European Parliament and also the European Commission. But we now need the Council of Ministers, which Minister Coveney is chairman of, to do likewise and endorse this vital measure to support young farmers. There needs to be a properly funded national reserve to give those young farmers with little or no single farm payment priority. But it is so important that this National Reserve is targeted and directed at active and productive farmers.
Well done.
Ladies and gentlemen, the world needs food. And who better to produce it than we as Irish farmers, in a green and a sustainable way. However, the food harvest targets that have been set down will not be achieved if the CAP does not support the active farmers, the productive farmers on the ground.
Hear, 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 hear.
To support and grow our industry and to help create more jobs, it is important that where productivity in the farm gets level, then the CAP must follow. A strong CAP directed and targeted at active farmers will ensure that I and we as young farmers have a future. Thank you very much.
And many more. I'd also like to welcome our Ulster North Leinster Vice President, John Waters. Well done, John. I'd also like to welcome on maybe his first official engagement, the new editor of the Farmers Journal, Justin McCarthy. A big round of applause for Justin. Okay, ladies and gentlemen, now what we want to do is we're going to have a quick question and answer session with some of the commodity chairmen. These are the people who really know what is going on at the cold front in each of their commodities. So I'm going to call up first Great Chairman Noel Delaney. Great Chairman Noel Delaney. Noel is grain grower, feathered, County Tipperary. He obviously is very seriously concerned about the potential impact of the proposals. Noel, how do Irish tillage farmers...
Just a knife edge, we're only for the single farm payments, that's what's keeping us going. And if that's going to be cut by 30% or someplace could be even up to 40%, we're just going to be out of business.
Yeah. And what would the economic impact of that be, Noel? I mean, it's a crucial sector, tillage, particularly.
We're the raw material for the rest of the country, and it's all the co-ops, it's the spin-off to the towns, the villages, every place around the country. It's going to have a massive impact on the. If we don't produce the grain here at home, it's going to be imported. So it's a loss to the whole economy.
And it's a very important sector. I think it's really critical sector. It cannot be overlooked, and it is really at risk because there's a major dependence on rented land. And what's the implication there?
Oh yeah, the rented land is crazy. Like with the price going up, we just can't survive. Even on our own land, we're only just breaking even, and we need every cent of the single farm payment to survive to keep us on business. And if that's gone, the whole rural economy is going to fade away.
Okay, listen, thanks very much for your initiative in County Kilkenny. And James is a very committed, very hard-working man who's built up his farm. James, how do you see it? What does Minister Coveney need to do for the sheep farmers?
Sheep farmers, I represent sheep farmers with above average payments. I represent sheep farmers with below average payments. And the sheep sector has done poorly out of previous CAP reform. My message to Minister Coveney today is very, very simple. First and foremost, he's got to look after the vulnerable sectors and the vulnerable regions. That's critical. We know that. But also, in this redistribution, and let's not kid ourselves, we know there will be a level of redistribution. It's got to be fair. It's got to be fair and it's got to be equitable. He's not the Minister for Social Welfare, he's the Minister for Agriculture. Now, my message here is today, very clearly, it's not just about one group. There is a group of highly productive farmers with above average payments who, for whatever reason, seem almost apologetic to raise their voices. It's great to see such a huge crowd here today delivering a message. This is Ireland's productive agriculture sector. There might be sheep farmers, there might be suckler farmers, grain farmers. I talked to a potato farmer here. We all have something to offer, and the wrong result here will decimate our incomes, our livelihoods, and agricultural production in Ireland. Let's give us a fair result, Minister Coveney. That's all I'm asking for, a fair result.
Potato men are really heavily dependent on rented ground. And I want to ask Tom, what is the situation, Tom? What are the implications right now for tillage men looking to take land, the kind of land that they need for their operation?
Yeah, we have seen, thank you Brian, Mr. President, ladies and gentlemen, the impact of the CAP reform talks up to this point has seen a contraction in the amount of land that's available in the land rental market. 50% or more of the tillage land of the country is rented or leased. 30% of all land. We need to have access to the land. Tax measures were put in place to encourage land mobility at the last budget. What has gone on in CAP has left that null and void. Also within the potato sector, we employ large numbers of people on a per hectare basis. That is the productive sector. The people that get out every morning and go to their work, there's where we need the money targeted. As the proposals stand at the moment, the agri-industry upstream and downstream from farm level is in serious jeopardy. We cannot forget that. Now the agri-industry needs to recognise that.
Well done. Thanks, Tom. Prime example of a young man who's taken on the home farm, who's built it up, who's built a fine enterprise. A lot of work, a lot of long hours, a lot of hard work has gone into it. Livestock farmer, also a sheep farmer, and indeed also some grain. So really, a great enterprise, and built up significant payment entitlement, single farm payment. Henry, the direction of this reform, what is it going to do? What is it going to do for the livestock sector?
Well, Brian, in the livestock sector that people depend on more than 100% of their income coming from the single farm payment. We do know that. You said there's 100,000 people involved in it. And it's just not good enough that people that get up in the middle of the night to calve cows and keep suckler cow numbers there, that they are the ones putting a line for a cut, that there is no recognition in putting this reform. Certainly no recognition by the Commissioner, but definitely no recognition by this Minister either of the fact of the hard work and free enterprise. No recognition being taken in the redistribution.
Here, 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 here,
here. Another thing I want to say, Brian, is livestock farmers, we saw the Minister go around the country do his 4 meetings, and we believed he was going to do something to support the active farmer. We also believed he was going to protect the suckler cow scheme before Christmas. We lobbied hard, and all the TDs came back and said, the Minister says there's a 25 million budget there. And up until after Christmas, till we met him, he was contending there was a 25 million budget. But funny enough, there was no €40. And that happened on the The spin has to stop on this.
Here, 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 here.
He's now saying our figures don't stack up. The only figures that are out there are the ones the Commissioner are out there. Let the Minister put proposals on the table that protects the active farmer. I have seen nothing yet put on the table by him that protects the active farmer. He's saying it in words, but he needs to now do it in actions.
Here, 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 here.
We now need to see, rather than spin, like we saw on the suckler cow, where we saw a heap of spin and ended up with no suckler cow payment, we need to see substance. We need to see the Minister coming out and saying, no more, Commissioner, I'm not coming back from Brussels with any more cuts for my farmers because they cannot take it. The livestock industry, we're on very small average incomes, on generally very small. This has been lost in the argument. Very small hectares, quite high payments per hectare. But again, no recognition of the fact that people bought suckler quota, bought land, bought yoke quota, calved cows, did all that. I can guarantee you, the proposals, if they're let run, and some of them put down by our own Minister, if they're let run, they will decimate the suckler industry, which is the backbone of the European export supplies or exports that we're doing. So, Minister, you've got to now pull up this cart. You've moved too fast, and for a man that says he has a lot of power now in Europe, you'd want to start using it.